Hey guys, Sam here from Ecommerce.com. In this video, you're going to learn the easy math behind e-commerce success. I'm going to share with you a template that I created that breaks down all the metrics in a buyer's journey for your e-commerce store to show you the huge impact that each point of the journey has on the profitability of your store. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so I'm gonna leave a link to this template down in the description below. Go check it out at the end of the video. Let me explain it right here, right now. Okay, the first thing you need to do is go to File and click Make a Copy. So important, guys. I've got the instructions here as well. I get so many emails from you guys that are trying to access any template that I create for you, and you can't edit this one. You need to create your own copy. The reason is I can't let you edit this one because this is shared by everybody. Okay, so go File, Make a Copy, create it for your own, and now you can start editing all these different fields. Okay, so let me break it down for you. So we have this big table here, and the goal here is to teach you guys all these different metrics that are really important, especially for Google Ads and Google Shopping, what they mean, the abbreviation, the formula, and the explanation. And you're going to be able to adjust each of these metrics to see the impact on the final result. And this is just gonna blow your mind in terms of the effect that each metric can have on your profitability. And a lot of people wonder, why aren't my ads profitable? Why is this wrong? Or why am I getting sales but I'm not making any money? This is gonna answer so many questions. So let me run through it right now. So we have impressions, clicks, click-through rates, and average cost per click and cost. These top metrics, they're largely in your Google Ads account, okay? So impressions, that's how many people actually viewed your ad. The clicks, that's the people that actually clicked on it. So you might have, that number is always going to be bigger than the next one, the impressions over clicks. And so 1,000 people viewed this ad, 100 people clicked. The reason I have two columns is that I want to make it really easy for you to compare changes in the metrics. So first we have the click-through rate, which is the percentage of people that clicked your ad after viewing it. So for example, let's in the case two, let's say that 150 people clicked it and the same amount of people viewed it. That means the click-through rate goes up to 15%. And of course, a higher click-through rate is going to indicate potentially more ad relevancy. It's also going to indicate that you've got a higher ranking in the ads too, because people click the top ads more than others. But that's, you can see how clearly that actually changes that metric, obviously. The next one is average cost per click. This is the average that you're paying, basically your bidding, okay? And of course, when you look at this, this is going to be over a period of time. And you see here, if I change the average cost per click to $1.50, the cost changes, of course. This is really basic stuff. We'll get into the meaty stuff right now. I've got an explanation here. That's the actual formula, really easy stuff. The next thing, real important, conversions. This is the number of actual transactions or orders on your site for this actual campaign or your ad account, basically. And it's gonna work out the conversion rate. So say if you've got 3 divided by 100 clicks equals 3%. So your conversion rate's 3%. That's pretty average for an e-commerce store. It's not amazing, it's not bad, but it's just average. And it also calculates your cost per acquisition. If it's yellow, it means you can edit these fields. Don't touch the other ones because they're formulas, okay? So three conversions, 3% conversion rate, and you'll see here, look, we already have a difference in the cost per acquisition. Cost per acquisition is, on average, how much are you paying to acquire each customer? So just by increasing your bid to $1.50, suddenly you're paying $17 more to acquire that customer. And so you can see now, I talk about this in all my videos, bidding is so important. It really has a huge impact. And a lot of the time, the first thing I'm gonna look at in a new account that I'm auditing or in one of my own accounts is the bidding, because that has the biggest impact already, because it's right at the top, the very, very start. Okay, so you can see that just 50 cents increasing that suddenly increases the cost per acquisition by $17. And it means that if you look down at the actual profit after ad spend, I'm going to get to this in a second, but we're actually losing money compared to actually gaining money, actually profiting versus losing. So you can see as you go down the funnel, it actually has a huge, huge impact. And I want people to understand this because people often don't even think about the bidding at all. It's not something they consider. They just kind of put it in there, and maybe because they don't understand it, they don't understand the algorithm, they don't understand how it works. Well, this is what you can often do for accounts that are just not profitable. Just reduce the bids, reducing your bids a bit, and you can often push that account, that campaign into profitability. It's fantastic. So the next thing we have is the average order value. This is something you can put in yourself. So on average, when someone goes to your site and converts, how much do they spend on average? I made it editable because I want it to fit in with this formula, but you can calculate that by just getting your total sales divided by your number of conversions. Really, really easy. And that calculates the total number of sales, the return on ad spend. So total sales, of course, you understand that. That's the total actually number of revenue, the sales, the income that you get, not counting expenses or anything, just total sales. The return on ad spend, that's for every $1 you put into the ads, how much do you get back in sales? And of course, this is calculated here by total sales divided by cost. So you see, increasing the bid increases the cost. You get the same amount of conversions. So the conversion rate stays the same. But then your return on ad spend decreases. So you see here, this is really, really important. You become less profitable, basically. If you get the same amount of clicks, and those clicks are of the same quality, so I mean they convert at the same rate and they still deliver the same average order value, you're losing. Your return on ad spend, your ROAS goes down. That's bad. ROAS is a very important metric of a successful account. It gives you a lot of information about the profitability of that account. It doesn't tell you as much about the volume of orders because you also have volume of conversions and profitability of those conversions. A good balance between two of those leads to more actual profits, a dollar amount in your actual bank account at the end of the month. The next thing here, we have profit margin. So this is something that you can put in for yourself. I've got a big video on how to calculate this. I provide you guys a template to how to calculate that. That's really important because putting that in lets the spreadsheet calculate your break-even return on ad spend. Okay, so I explained the profit margin here. That's getting into the financial stuff. It's really basic. Basically, your sales minus your expenses, which is like your Shopify apps, your Shopify subscription, app subscriptions, if you have a warehouse or any rent, anything like that, minus your COGS. COGS stands for cost of goods sold. It's an accounting term that basically refers to how much you actually pay your supplier. I won't get into that right now, but that's pretty much all you need to know. But this calculates your break-even ROAS. It's a very simple formula that I talk about in a lot of my videos, 1 divided by your profit margin. So you see for both of these, if I increase the profit margin here to 40%, suddenly the break-even ROAS lowers. So basically what this means is that we need the return on ad spend to be greater than this, and it's going to be profitable. So you see here, if I could put this back to 30%, 3.33 is bigger than the actual return on ad spend. So I already know before I look at this amount, it's going to be a loss. So you're losing. And that's a really good way to quickly look at your campaigns, even your products, keywords, everything, and know, okay, this is making money or not, because you have this measure, a break-even return on ad spend. And you can see if you can get a better deal with your supplier, you can reduce your expenses suddenly with changing your profit margin. Say if I increase it to 50%, boom, we're making even more with this new profit margin, even though the bid is higher. So even though the actual cost is higher, we're actually making more. And I'm going to get to this right now. Okay, so explain this here. So we've got two different rows here that explain the profits. Because I put in here profit before ad spend. This is your sales minus expenses, minus your cost of products with the supplier before you take away ad spend. And then this one here, we just take away ad spend on top of that. So you can see here, 135. And I actually calculate it here because I just use the profit margin to make it really easy. So if you know your profit margin, it's just going to times that by your actual total sales. So that's pretty much the same thing, but it's just doing it in a different way. But then we actually then take away the cost of the ads. So it ends up being $35. And so this actually takes into account the cost of your ads as well as the extra profit you're generating to work out what you should have when the day is done, the actual profit that you'll have after paying Google, paying your supplier, paying for all your apps and all that sort of stuff. That's how much you would have. And so that's why I highlighted that in yellow. You're not meant to change that, but I highlighted that in yellow so that you can see, it's highlighted so you can see that's what you really, really care about. Okay, that's really, really important there, guys. So let me do some, I'll do some little tests in a second, but let me go through the rest of this. The next thing is average profit per order. So this tells you, on average, each customer, each order that comes through, how much profit does that generate? That's a really, really good metric. Really, really good for you to know. It just helps you to see, like in your ad account, but also when you're dealing with customers. Say, like if each customer's, it doesn't mean you treat your customers poorly, but it means you're going to know on a customer basis, like how much do they actually give you in your pocket in terms of profit. Now, this last bit here is something, a long-term view that I wanted to show you guys, which is something that very few people think about, but it is so powerful, and I'm going to show you exactly why here. So repeat customer rate, this is the percentage of customers that come back and purchase again. Okay, so someone might come through your ads the first time, your shopping campaigns, they convert, awesome, but then 2 months later, they come back because they maybe you sent them some emails with Klaviyo, maybe they just remembered your store and were like, oh, I really want to get this other product or this add-on, this accessory. They come back and purchase again. Well, then this actually calculates using that amount, the actual customer lifetime value. So this is the actual, if someone purchases once, that generates you income, but they come back again, that generates you more income, but not all of those people are going to come back and buy again. So this is like a bit of a crude way of figuring out the customer lifetime value, how much that person actually gives your store in revenue over the life of that customer, basically. So the average profit per customer, that just works out, using the profit margin, how much profit overall that customer brings you. And so you can see here, when you have a 40% repeat customer rate, the actual profit per customer is bigger than the average profit per order. Okay, this is really, really interesting. So this is something to keep in mind, guys, is that even if your ads might give you a loss at the start, so say if I change this back to 30%, we're making a loss. If 40% of those customers actually come back and purchase again, suddenly we're actually profitable again. So each customer generates $13 in profits. It's still not as good as it could be. This one over here with the same return customer rate has a $30 in average profit per customer, but it's still better than nothing. And so there are some stores out there, often like low ticket stores that I've worked with, that break even or even make a loss on their campaigns because it's incredibly competitive, but they make it all back over the next 3 to 6 months with subscriptions, other products they sell, and really cheap remarketing, whether email marketing or remarketing campaigns on display network, or even RLSA campaigns, Facebook remarketing, campaigns that get those people back in. And because they already know your brand, they're much more likely to repeat purchase. Really important. Okay, so I've done a few different examples here, but let's do some more examples and see how this calculator performs and how your store's profitability changes with a different example. Okay, of course, the first one I showed you was the average cost per click. So bidding has a huge impact on the profitability of your stores. That's really important to remember. The next thing I want to show you is about the conversion rate. Okay, so we have the same case on either side, and all I'm going to change is the actual number of conversions. Say I reduce this one to 1. So our conversion rate goes down to 1%. Look at how this changes everything. And this is basically if your store sucks, it doesn't convert people, or if it's okay. This is the actual difference that your store makes in converting your customers and how much that impacts your ads. And it just boggles my mind, guys, how much this impacts the profitability of your campaigns. Yes, every part of the journey has an impact, but so many people focus on the ad account and they don't even think about their website and improving their product pages, improving their homepage, and making sure it converts. And a big part of this is really understanding your customers. I know that I've said that so many times, but it is so true. Even for my own store, we spent a lot of time talking to our customers, and when we launched our campaigns, man, they did so well. Great conversion rate, great profit per conversion, because our site didn't need to work hard to convert those people. They saw the website and it just spoke to them. I talk about that all the time, guys, but it is so true. And it's the night and day difference between successful stores I see and unsuccessful stores. There's only so much you can do to your ad account if your store sucks, okay? So important. So you can see here, just by decreasing that, the 2 less conversions in that same period reduces to 1%. And some people have a conversion rate of 1%. Go and check your metrics right now in the Shopify Dash or in Google Analytics. Check your conversion rate and see what it is, because this has a huge impact. If we put that up to 5%, suddenly look at the profit. It just explodes, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how this changes. So even just a slight decrease of 1 less in that same period, huge difference. Because of course the average order value, it's a medium ticket. It's high ticket for some, but that's pretty average depending on the products that you're selling. But that also relates to the actual cost. Okay, so important. But yeah, even if I change, the return on ad spend, that goes down to 3. If I put that up to 5, that goes up to 7.5, way more than the break-even ROAS. Man, this is absolutely huge. And you'll see everything changes, even the average profit per customer. Man, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So that's why I always state, make sure you get your website dialed into those customers, improve the conversion rate. It's one of the last things people think about. They just get it set up with some template, but really crafting that site is so important. Okay guys, the next thing I want to talk about is the average order value. I've spoke about this. I've got a video on how to increase the average order value, what it is, how to calculate it. I'll leave that in the description below. But yeah, same thing guys. If you just meddle with this, it's going to change things a lot. Changing that down to $100 puts that down into a loss. So if your customers come through your store and your product's $100 and that's what you sell and they only buy 1 product, then you can see how much of an impact that's going to have on the profitability of your campaigns. But say that you could sell them 2 of that product. Maybe you have a deal that if they spend over $150, then they get free shipping, and that's still profitable for you. Well, then suddenly you can see here that the profit for this campaign goes up a lot, but especially the average profit per customer on the customer lifetime value goes up massively. It's huge because that average order value affects the repeat customer rate as well. Super, super important. Let's pull that back down to 150. And then next I want to look at the profit margin. And I'm just going through this one by one because it is so, so important. Like I said before, just changing this is going to have a huge impact. If you can get a better deal with your supplier, even just if you increase your pricing and it doesn't have a detrimental effect too much on your conversion rate, this can be a great way to improve your ads. So say that was 20%. Suddenly the break-even ROAS that we need is 5, which is lower than 4.5, which is what we have right now. And boom, we're in a loss. And we do make money on the repeat customer rate. So that is a good example of that happening. But still, if you have cash flow issues, you don't have a lot of cash to spend on your ads right now, and you can't bank on those return customers coming back in 3 to 6 months or whenever, then that makes it really, really hard. Of course, always, the more profit you can have, the better. Whoops, the more profit that you can have, the better. But if you increase the price of your product too much, then the quantity of conversions you get are going to decrease because people aren't going to want to spend that much for that product. They're not going to see the value. Also, if you decrease the cost, the actual price that you pay to your suppliers, maybe they're going to cut corners, maybe you're going to get a lower quality product. This is also going to impact the repeat customer rate because those people aren't going to buy again if they see a bad quality product sent to them. So that's also really important. As an e-commerce store owner, you're balancing all these different things as you craft your store and making these decisions for yourself. The last thing I want to look at here, guys, is the repeat customer rate. And I already talked about this a little bit as well. A lot of stores, especially dropshipping stores with terrible products, they get no repeat customers, maybe even 1%. So let me put in 1% here, and you see here the average profit per customer decreases massively compared to having 40%. Now, the reason I put 40% in there is because a lot of the brand stores that I work with that are doing really well, or even just starting, but have done really well at crafting a strong brand, they are often at 30 to 40%, which is just insane. Because if you think about it this way, you've already spent all this money here to acquire this customer. But here, the added cost to get the extra sale is minimal. It doesn't cost that much. If you're using email marketing, your Klaviyo subscription, maybe if you have a discount code as that sale, maybe. But even then, if you're just sending out emails to nurture that customer after they've purchased, you can win them back and get another purchase for nothing. You're just paying for that Klaviyo subscription. It's fantastic. So that's why it makes it really hard to scale up your store if no one's coming back to purchase again. Even at 10%, which is pretty good for an AliExpress dropshipping store, one of those templated stores that a lot of people are trying to get off the ground these days, it is really, really hard to be profitable because over the long run, you're just not making as much. Even if you look at here, the average profit per order, those repeat customers bring in an extra $4. Those 10% of repeat customers do bring in an extra $4.17 in terms of the actual value per customer on top of the actual initial order. But overall, it's nowhere near that $30, which is more than double what that one customer generates for your store. It's insane, guys. So you can see here with this calculator, I'll leave a link in the description below. You can access this for yourself, play around with the numbers. You'll see. You can put in your own metrics in here too and see what happens. See what happens if you just increase your conversion rate by a little bit. See what happens if you decrease your bids. It's all there. You can use it for yourself, and it's fantastic to see the impact that these little changes make for your store and your profitability. And I've said this before, guys, your store lives and dies by the numbers. If you know the metrics and you know what you can improve, man, it's so powerful because you can focus all your energy on, say, the conversion rate or increasing the average order value. And then you can pick up those weaknesses and get your store scaling, growing, and profitable. That's it for today's video, guys. I really hope that was helpful. I spent a lot of time creating this, and I hope it was helpful for you guys out there trying to grow your e-commerce store. If it was, give this video a like. I appreciate that. Tell the YouTube algorithm that I'm making good content for you guys, and let me know in the comments below. Let me know, is it helpful? Is it not? Just let me know. I appreciate it anyway. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Follow along as I help you grow your e-commerce store. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.